I can go back to the 19th century and come up with some analogous things. I mean, or look at what's happening in some European cities where you just feel like your existing businesses, you know that jobs are going to be lost with good people, and it's just hard to stop disruption. It's been happening forever. How do we handle it? It's hard on people that have like the cabbies and the medallion owners.
Well, I think the Amazon issue is separate from Uber. I know there was a New York Times article that suggested Uber could be next. I don't think that's really the case. I think with Amazon, it would have been great to have those jobs in New York, but New York is special and should come at full price. I don't think discounts should be available. There's a lot of great companies like Uber that are happy to do business there and pay full ride. Uber generates tons of tax in New York, pays the full sales tax, which taxis don't. Now pays a congestion charge with the over 3 million cars that come into the city every day don't. So I think as a corporate citizen, Uber is great for the city. They provide a great service and pay a lot of tax.
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is the reality. And I've had people that are saying that the subsidies that Amazon was being offered are to counteract the reverse subsidies that are systemic to high tax states and states. Would you locate in Chicago, in Illinois right now, Josh, without some type of incentive to do it? I wouldn't. I mean, you're only as, if you're not a hospitable place for business, then the business is not going to come to you. They're going to go somewhere else that's more hospitable. So I don't like crony capitalism, but this is the end result of what happened. There are not 25,000 jobs now going to Long Island City, and that's just the way it is. So
yeah, I mean,
you can say, it's great, and New York has all these great things to offer, but they're not coming.
Well, New York is a great city for Uber. When I brought Uber to Long Island City in 2012, we saw the opportunity as huge. It isn't really about how hospitable the government is. It's about the market opportunity. If the customers are there, we want to be there.
Maybe different for Uber. Right. Maybe different for Amazon than it is for Uber. You got a crowded city where people need transportation, and it's a perfect fit for Uber. But Amazon could basically go anywhere. We're just talking about the education, the colleges around New York, I guess, and things like that for Amazon. So you're right. It's a totally different situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the New York issue, it's the city has at times been hostile regarding supply, right? So how many driver partners Uber are allowed to bring onto the system? That's been sort of the debate since 2015, when the taxi industry had the idea that it would be a great thing for them, for the city to cap the number of Uber cars on the road. And so then a few months later, the mayor suggested doing that, and we pushed back and won. He was able to get that law passed in 2018, along with a different law about driver wages, which actually kind of accomplished the policy goal. If you're not familiar with it, they passed a law that created a formula that, based on each company's utilization, that is how often the cars are busy, there's a pay floor that drivers have to earn. So it's sort of like a dynamic supply cap. It puts it back in the court of Uber or Lyft or Juno to decide how many drivers they want to have, and as long as demand is there to support that, that's okay. And that law is in place and creates sort of a good equilibrium for the city. Mayor de Blasio seems stuck on this idea of a cap, which is unnecessary and really just a taxi idea.
I mean, I'm sure if it were to affect you and Uber, I mean, there are places where Uber's not welcome, right? And where the entrenched businesses that are already there are favored by the local politicians. I mean, if it affected you, I think you'd probably have a problem with it at that point, right?
Well, look, I think, the number of cities that are hostile towards Uber, I think, is reducing by the day. The business in the U.S. is very strong. I believe New York is still the largest one, despite having the most onerous regulatory policy. And I think, look, when you're doing business on public streets, I think that's a bit the nature of the beast. I think all that Uber wants is to be treated fairly. And I think sort of an arbitrary supply cap really just hurts New Yorkers ultimately.
Yeah, I think, Airbnb is a different situation, but they're dealing with some of the same things, I think, at this point in terms of, I mean, that was what I was saying, Luddites, and, there are a lot of people that didn't want machines to come either, and farming equipment and everything else. And it's tough. It's disruptive.
We can't have cars. What about the horses?
Yeah, exactly. What about the buggy whip manufacturers?
What about the buggies?
They're all gone. Yeah. I know. Look at the poor record stores. And I should have never invested in all those Photomat franchises. I'm still, I mean, it's horrible what happened to me. Anyway, thank you.